Hey everybody, Mike here, Mike's Computer Tips. I'm going to do a series with a lot of different computer ideas and a lot of different computer topics. So make sure you tune in and, at your own convenience, watch all the videos and you will learn a lot about computers and computer tips and things that you could do to make your computer better and faster and more stable and safer. And so make sure I'm excited to do this series. It's going to be like 7 or 8 or even 10 videos together. It'll be a couple hours long. So make sure you check out the whole thing and you'll learn a real lot and it'll help you out a lot. So I will, but on that note, let's get started. Hey everybody, great to see everybody. And this series is going to be about hardware and upgrading. We're going to do several different series. In this one, we're going to start out with hardware, teaching everybody about computer hardware and letting you know the different parts that are in a computer if you're not familiar with them. When you're talking about a desktop computer, you're talking about case fans. You have fans in there that cool down the computer. And you can actually, if you have the room, you can actually add more fans to make it even more cooler. And the cooler the computer will run, the better it will run and the longer it will last. Because electronics heats up and eventually it wears out, burns out. So keeping your computer cool with the computer fans is great. Then you have your motherboard, which is your main board in your computer. And that's where everything is installed on. That's the big system board that sits on the bottom of the case. It's actually on the side of the case on a desktop computer. And then you have a video card. Now, some video cards are built into the motherboard and some are external. If it's a gaming computer, it's going to be a big external one that's in the slot on the motherboard. Then you have the CPU, which is also called a processor. CPU is Central Processing Unit, and that's the brain of the computer. And that's a little chip that sits in the center of the computer, and then there's a fan on it to keep it cool. And that's the CPU fan. Next, we're talking about memory, RAM memory. And that's installed in the computer in slots. And the more memory you have, basically the more desktop space you have, meaning you could do several things. If you have more than 8 gigs of memory, you could do multitasking without having your computer slow down or freeze up. Then you have the hard drive, which is SSD or SATA hard drive. Now, the newer hard drives today are SSD, solid state drives, and they're very small and they're much faster than the old big hard drives, which are mechanical and have moving parts in them. The SSD hard drive, the newer ones today, which are in most computers, don't have any moving parts. They're on the same technology as the USB pen drive that you stick inside your USB port. So that's another thing to consider. There's also a different type of hard drive that's called M2, and that's even faster, a lot faster than the SSD. That installs on certain motherboards that have the slot M2. Now, the only thing with the M2 drive is they're very fast, but they get very hot. So, a lot of gamers use the M2 hard drives because they're very fast for gaming. But if you're gaming for several hours at a time, that will heat up, and the lifespan of the M2 is very low compared to the lifespan of the SSD, which is not as fast, but will outlast the M2 drive. Now, M2 drives are fine if you're only going to be gaming for maybe an hour at a time, because your computer won't get that hot. But if you're going to be gaming for hours on end with the M2 drive, make sure you have adequate cooling, because they get hot, they get very hot, and eventually they wear out. Now, the power supply is a very important part of the desktop computer, because that's what connects to all the different parts of the computer. The power supply has cables coming out the back of it, and they hook into the motherboard, into your drives, into various video cards. There's cables for all different things. The newer power supplies are are a little bit different, because the plugs plug in and come out. You can install whatever amount of wires you need, and those are mostly the high end, like for gaming and high end editing. You have all the different types of plugs that go into the motherboard and drives. So that's the newer hard drives. The newer power supplies. Hello, we talked about, in the first segment, we talked about desktop computers. We are going to talk about laptop computers now. As far as the hardware goes, laptops are portable compared to a desktop, which is very stationary. Laptops, you can take them where you want, and they are now fast as a desktop computer. Now today you can buy a high-end gaming laptop, which is about as equivalent to a desktop computer as far as speed goes. So you can get a fast laptop, and you can do gaming on it. You can do video editing on it, and pretty much everything. And the thing about laptop is they're mostly proprietary, meaning you can't really do too much changing around. You can add memory, you can change the hard drive, the video card is built into the motherboard most of the time, or built on the motherboard. There's not a lot of changing you can do. Once you have it done, it's pretty much done as far as the motherboard goes. As far as that works. Now, as far as the cooling goes, the cooling is a lot different, because the laptop only has a couple fans. A lot of times they have one fan internally, and that blows out the hot air, compared to a desktop, which has several fans that do more, that will blow in air and out air and circulate. The laptops are a lot smaller, so they don't really circulate that good as far as moving the air around. So we have to keep the vents clean on the sides, so the hot air does go out, and the fan does cool the laptop down. You have the Wi-Fi capability, like you could have in a desktop, which is nice, very portable, and screen size. Now you can buy real small laptops, you can buy big screen laptops, not as big as a desktop, obviously, but you can get, 17-inch, laptop screen, which is still pretty good if you like the whole idea about having a laptop. They're very popular. They're not as easy to work on as a desktop, because you have a lot more room to work on. But they're very popular, and a lot of people like them. Personally, I prefer a desktop, but that's just me. Some people like the laptop. It's more of like a personal preference, But either way, they're both good computers. And the hardware is, like I said, the hardware is high end, or you can have a low end laptop, like you can have a low end computer, a slower, just a basic computer to go on the internet and stuff like that. Or you can have a laptop that's just basic, or you can have a high end laptop that will do everything that you want to do, video editing, gaming, and all that good stuff. So a lot of computers today aren't coming with drives, the external DVD, internal DVD drives. So you have to use an external portable drive on it. If it has the internal, that's great. But for some reason, companies are getting away from that because you can, download a lot of different things. You don't always need a DVD player. So, and it also gives more room for a company to put more things in the laptop without having to have that DVD. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch a little on the laptops and the hardware. We're going to go into talking about security for your computer. That's going to be the next topic. We're going to go into security. Getting into security for your computer. So, what is security? Well, obviously, being safe on the internet, you want to have some protection from viruses. You want to have um, applications that can do different things to protect you from different types of threats on the internet, which is there's all kinds of different threats that people may overlook, but you got viruses and you got spyware and different types of Trojans and keyloggers and all various different things people can send out to try to steal your information online while you're on your computer. And so there's programs to help you, protect yourself from that. Most of the time, most common is antivirus because you want to be protected from most viruses that you can get. There's several different antiviruses on the market. I mean, you can literally pay anything for an antivirus for a computer. But then again, I use a lot of free ones, which I recommend. And most people don't know that Windows Defender is built into Windows 10 and Windows 11. So you have an antivirus built into your computer already that you can run. If you want to have a secondary one, that's okay too. You can have a free version of like AVG or Avast. Those are the main free versions, which are very good, and I've used a lot of them, and I still use them on my computers and customers' computers today. And they are good. They work good. They do just like what a paid version would do. Except you most likely have to update it yourself, which is not a problem. So then you got to think about like spyware removal programs. There's a lot of them out there, like CCleaner, like Malwarebytes, like Super Anti-Spyware Remover. The list goes on and on. There's probably 50 different programs that you can get to protect yourself from different types of infections that you can get online. And personally, I use the free ones also, which are which are pretty good and they do the job, like CCleaner, like Malwarebytes, and Super Spyware. These are also free versions. You can get the paid versions, which will give you a little bit more options. But those are some of the main ones that you can get. And then registry cleaners are important. What is a registry cleaner? Well, that goes into your Windows operating system and looks for files that you might have deleted at some point, or when you uninstall a program, it leaves behind files and stuff in your Windows, and the files could be scattered all around your operating system. What the registry cleaner does is it goes in and looks for those files and deletes them and tries to clean up your operating system. And that's a good thing to do, is use a registry cleaner. And there's also a lot of things that you could do because security and maintenance kind of go hand in hand. Security is programs that we talk about that you protect yourself online with. But maintenance is another part of security, because if you can manually clean temporary files off your computer and keep your computer running better, that'll also help protect you. Protect you from viruses, infections, and also protect you from your computer not running that good. Because when your computer's not running that good, you're more susceptible to these problems. So protecting your computer by doing security is great, but maintenance is also a form of protection, meaning going into your browser and cleaning out browsing history, going into your Windows operating system, cleaning out the temporary files, doing disk scan on your computer to get the files back on your hard drive in the proper order. And there's different settings on your computer that you can change. There's settings that make your computer slower that you can change to make it a little faster. And there's a lot of different settings and a lot of different tips and tricks that you can use and you can change on your computer to make it perform better. And I talk a lot about that in my videos and explain how to use them. So those, the maintenance is like hand in hand with security, so you're going to get like double type of protection. A lot of people talk about firewalls and VPNs. You can use a firewall if you have sensitive information that will protect you from people coming into your computer and compromising your safety. VPNs also can be effective at a certain level if you're a business. Businesses mainly use these things to give it a second layer of protection from people trying to steal their information or financial information or banking information or just information in general that you may have on your computers in your company, and you don't want that to be compromised. Now, I talk about backups, and I'm going to talk about doing backups here because that's part of your security is doing backups. Backups not only will protect your information because it won't be on your computer, you'll have a separate drive with your information, but it will also clean up your computer because all that information won't be on your computer all the time. So doing backups is very important. If you have information on your computer, that's very important. You don't want to lose. I always recommend Get yourself like a USB type external hard drive like this. You can get them in any box store and plugging it into your USB and then periodically saving your information. There's important information that you don't want to lose. You're saving it onto a drive, saving it onto CDs, saving it onto DVDs. You can save it on the cloud. There's different things you can hire, pay a company to do it for you. If you're a business, they will do the backups for you at a time, like when you're not using the computer, like at night. There's a lot of options for that. But the basic option would be just for yourself is to have an external drive and put that information that is important on there, whether it be, Word documents, pictures, videos, things like that, putting it on there. If your computer ever crashes or breaks down, you won't have to worry about losing it, and you'll have that on the side once you get your computer straightened away or a new computer. That information can always be put back on, or you could use that information that you saved on a different system. So you have a couple options there to save your information, which is definitely part of security because you don't want to lose anything. You don't want people to steal anything off of your computer, and people are always trying to do it out there with these different programs that they use. So backup, is a great thing, and not just putting these files and information, videos, and pictures on there, but also putting programs on there. So if you have to reinstall programs, you have these different applications on your external drive. It's a lot easier for you to go in there and just install them back on the computer. Or you can use, a lot of people use Ninite, which is a good website where you could download a lot of programs at once. That's another option you can use. There's so many different options, but I'm talking about the basics. That way you get an idea of what's out there and what you need to look for and what you need to protect yourself for. And these programs are very good, and a simple backup system is really important. I always keep USB drives handy in case I need them for backing up stuff. I even have Windows operating systems on, and start up USBs to install Windows and put programs on there and things like that. And data, they're very good. You can buy them now from 8 gigs all the way up to like 8 terabytes. So you can buy very small ones or very big ones that will hold a lot of information on them. Years ago, you couldn't get good ones because they didn't have the technology, but now there's really no excuse for you not backing up information because there's a lot of mediums that you can put that information on now, whether, like I said, DVDs, the cloud, a company doing it, or you're doing it yourself, which I recommend using an external device like a USB pen drive or a USB hard drive. Very important to have. If you don't want to lose anything, it's essential to have that. We're going to go away from security right now, and we're going to talk about software and some more about that in a few minutes. This segment, we're going to be talking about things like, what are you going to do on your computer, and do you have enough computer power to do that? So, I want to talk a little bit about people ask me, well, is my computer good enough, or I don't have a good enough computer to do such and such. Um, if you're just going online and checking your email, maybe going to YouTube or watching videos and just downloading some stuff and not doing too much, a basic computer is adequate. Maybe 8 gigs of memory would be enough. With Windows 10, that should be enough to do basic stuff. But if you're going to do video editing and gaming and high-end stuff like that, where you're going to make videos and also you're going to store stuff on your computer and you're going to do video editing, you would need a computer that is faster, more memory, like 16 gigs of memory, or even more, if possible. It really depends on your budget. And a decent SSD hard drive, maybe a terabyte or more, and a decent GPU video card in your computer. Those are the things you'll need: microphone, webcam, or video cam, those type of things, because you're going to be making videos, so you're going to use your phone, or you're going to use a camera. You're going to make the videos, and then you're going to download them and maybe put them on YouTube and different social medias. So you want to have a computer that is more high-end, faster, and able to do these different things. That's really important. When you're doing high-end stuff, you need a better computer. Simple as that. It don't have to be the fastest computer in the world. It don't have to be the greatest computer, but it has to be fast enough to process all this information. So you want to have more memory. You want to have a fast hard drive. You want to have a 8 or even a higher GPU from 4 gigs on up, and that type of thing. So you're going to have to get a better computer or upgrade the computer you have in order to do that. And people ask me all the time, like, what's a good computer? What do you use? What do you like? Well, there's really two options as far as computers. One thing is you can buy what people have been buying for years, computers off the shelf in big box stores. Name brands like Dell, HP, different brands, and they are adequate enough to do what you need to do. But if you want to make sure your whole computer is specific to all the best parts that you can get and the best performance, then you have to have a custom built computer built from scratch with all the best parts that you can afford as far as your budget. If you want something high end, something that will, be sustainable and you can do everything you need to do, then you won't be looking for a computer off the shelf. You'll have to buy the case, you'll have to buy all the different parts, and you'll have to assemble it yourself or have somebody that's knowledgeable put everything together and build it for you, a custom computer. So it really has no name, there's really no brand, but the processor is going to be either Intel or AMD. You're either going to have an AMD graphics card or NVIDIA, okay? But these are high performance parts. You're going to have a lot of memory, rare memory. You're going to have a decent SSD hard drive and fans for cooling as a desktop. If you want it to run cool and quiet, well, the desktop fans today are quiet fans, so you want to make sure you have adequate cooling. You don't want your computer to run hot because it's too hot. the more performance you have, the hotter it's going to run. So you have to have the fans to cool it down. The desktop, that's important as far as circulation in the case where the air is flowing from the fans, cooling down the parts while you're using it. Because if you're a gamer and you use your computer for hours and hours on end, these parts are going to get hot. It's just electronics. It's just that's just how it is. Parts are going to heat up, so you have to have adequate cooling, which I spoke of in the last couple of videos. Is you have to have adequate fans, and if you buy a custom computer, that goes along with it. Sometimes they have fans on the top, fans on the sides, and some fans blow in and some fans blow exhaust, pushing the air out, the hot air out, bringing in cool air. And you may have fans on the top, inside your desktop that are on top, bringing in cool air, and you might have a fan on the side, internally on the side, that's pushing the hot air out to keep you in a circular, to keep everything cooler. That's what you need, and that's what you get when you have higher end desktop computer, because you need to keep it cool, because you're doing different things, you're working your computer a lot harder. These parts are high performance, and they're working very hard, and they're high performance. It's just like having a high performance car. If you have a big, strong, beefed up engine in that car, engine's going to get hot, right? So same thing with the computer, no difference. The more power you have, the more heat is going to be generated. So the cooling is another important part, which I spoke about in other videos, and that's what you're going to have if you build or have somebody build a custom computer for you. And so there is no name brand, but the processor is really the name brand. What do you have? I have an Intel custom computer, or I have a AMD custom computer. But it's custom to you, custom to what the specifications that you want. That's really the difference. If you buy a computer off the shelf, you're not going to always get the best parts, because these companies use parts from a lot of different vendors, but they're not always the best parts. You may have a halfway decent processor and not a lot of memory. You might not have a great motherboard that has upgradability to it. When you build a custom computer, you're going to use a custom motherboard, which is going to have, a lot of extra things that you can add on to it to make it better. So you're starting out with a better foundation if you want to do gaming and video editing and those types of things. So that's really the difference. For basic use, AMD, having a Dell or having an HP is fine, off the shelf. But if you want to do, like I said, if you're going to do high-end stuff, gaming, video editing, AutoCAD, things like that, you're going to need a computer that's going to be a high-performance computer, and that's going to have a custom built and be a homemade computer. So I do that. I do custom builds depending on your budget. I build a computer. You get the parts, like put it all together, and that's how you do it. And then you can even buy custom computers already built. Companies today are selling, high-end computers that are already built. You don't have to do anything except pay for it and hook it up, and there you go. So it really depends on what you want. It's like if you have a hot rod car, you could put this hot rod engine in there, or you could put this hot rod engine in there. It really depends on your budget, how much you can afford, and the prices of the parts. Sometimes you can find parts, on sale, and you have to do your shopping around and make sure that the parts work with each other and they're compatible with each other. Most parts are, but there's a website called Parts Picker, PC Parts Picker, and they do the compatibility for you. So if you want a high-end motherboard, they'll match it with memory and all these different things, and just to make sure you're getting everything you're getting is going to be working together and without any kind of problems. So that ends the segment of talking about different PC upgrades and things like that. If you want better video, you get a better video card. If you want your computer to run faster, you get a high-end processor and add more memory to it. And make sure you have an SSD hard drive. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about hard drives. There's a couple different kinds of hard drives, and we're going to talk about the difference with them hard drives. The older hard drives would have been in computers for years are hard drives that look like this. Okay, it's type of hard drive that's in a desktop computer. Obviously, it's bigger. If you have a laptop, it's a real small hard drive. It's about this that big. It's very small. But that's a mechanical hard drive. And what's a mechanical hard drive is that it has parts in there that move. It has a platter that spins around and all your information's on that platter. And then it has a arm that moves around too to find your information so it can read it and it can write on your computer. So there's a write-read arm. These hard drives run at 5,400 RPMs or 7,200 RPMs. Now, that's the older hard drive. The newer hard drives are very small, and your SSD hard drives, and this is a laptop or a desktop one, you can use it in either one. And these are about, 20 times faster than the big one, and they have no moving parts in it. And it is based on the same technology that you have in your USB where you plug it in. So this is kind of like having a big hard drive, but one of these with a lot more space. So today is in your computer you want to have an SSD hard drive. A lot of companies make them, but this is what it looks like, and it's called SSD, solid state hard drive, and it runs a lot faster than a regular hard drive. There is another hard drive, it's called M2, it's a little small middle hard drive that goes into your motherboard, and it runs even a lot faster than even the SSD hard drive. The only issue with that is they do get very hot, so I recommend using an SSD, and they're not as fast as the M2, but they're still fast enough. But they don't get very hot compared to the M2. A lot of people that do gaming and high-end editing will use the M2, but you have to be careful because they do heat up fast, and they don't last a whole long time. If they overheat, they could burn out. So you have to be careful. I see a lot of them getting replaced because of that reason. So I recommend the SSD hard drive. And they work very good and they last a long time. And just like the big hard drive, you can get them in all different sizes. This is an older one, 250 gig. You can get up until 8 terabytes now, or 4 terabytes with the SSD hard drive, which is very small and compact. It's made of plastic compared to the big old metal one. This is plastic and metal, but you want to get rid of this whole bulky one and you want to get an SSD. That'll make your computer run a lot faster. And you can save the information from your, regular hard drive and put it on your SSD also. So that's what a lot of people are doing, or you start from scratch, put in the SSD, then put your Windows on and all your files on that. That's what you really need to do 2023 and beyond. Who knows what they're going to come out with next, but we have very good technology now for computers, mainly because of the SSD, solid state hard drive, and the capability of the GPUs, the video cards that go in desktops. They're very fast. You're doing gaming, everything shows up on the screen. The more GPU gigabytes you have, the better it's going to be in your computer. So those are things to think about when you're going to be building a gaming system. You want to get the most gigabytes that you can afford to make your games run smoother. Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike here from Mike's Computer Tips. We're going to get into talking about setup. I think setup is a good thing to talk about. A lot of people ask me about my setup, how I have my computer set up, and I'm going to go into that. But I want to talk to you in general about setup, what kind of computer do you have? What is, how do you have it set up? Do you have your tower on the floor? Do you have a carpet on the floor? Make sure you're getting circulation around your desktop, but you keep it on the floor. Don't push it all the way to the wall, and have circulation around it and let them. In other words, you want your fans to be able to blow out or blow in to keep your computer cool if you have a desktop. If you keep it up on a table, that's fine, as long as the fans have room for the air to dissipate or the air to suck in if the fan is sucking in. That's real important. Another thing is, do you have a big tower, or a small tower, a mid tower? Because the people don't understand is they want something. Some people like the real big tower. Some people like a small desktop. The thing is, if you have a real small one or a mid tower, and it's like a kind of a high-end computer, you don't have a lot of circulation going on in there. There's not a lot of room for the air to flow because there's just no room, like the air can just blow all around. That's why full-size towers are probably the best thing to have when building or having a gaming system, because you could have fans on the top, fans on the side, wherever, and it's a lot of space in there for the air to blow around, and that's what you need to cool the computer down, to make it cooler while you're doing your gaming. Because gaming, everything's getting hot. When you're doing video editing, if you have a bigger tower, it's going to be better because everything in there is getting hot, but your fans have room to blow the air around. A smaller tower, you just don't have that option. So what I always like to do is, if you have a small tower, let that be a basic computer that you're just going on the internet, surfing the web, and things like that. Don't have a small tower as far as your high-end system where you're going to be doing gaming or editing. If you have a high-end laptop, that's another thing. You can put that on your desk. As long as the vent is blowing the air out and it's keeping it decently cool, you're okay. But if you want a high-end desktop, make sure you have a full tower, a big enough tower where the air can move around. Very important. I have two high-end desktops here, and the towers are big. They're very big, actually bigger than a regular tower. But that's because it's older. I don't have newer computers. My desktops are Dell, I have two Dells and an HP. And the HP is just a smaller desktop um, that I use. It's right here. And I use that for basic stuff. I don't do anything crazy on there. Just playlists and eBay and whatever I feel like doing. I do it on this computer. I also have my towers, and I'll show you them later on underneath, which are much faster, and they do everything. So I'm trying to situate myself so you can see everything. All right, bring that back over. I don't want my mic to get in the way, but and I have a basic microphone, and it's a Blue Snowball. It's a really good Snowball Ice. These are like $40 or $50, and I think it sounds pretty good. I never really have any complaints. People say it sounds pretty good. I mean, you could pay anything for a microphone, anywhere from $10 to a couple $1,000 if you want. But I just wanted to have decent sound. I'm not trying to spend a lot of money or go crazy. So $40, $50 for me is a good investment, and I could do all my videos and the recordings. This recording here, and I do all my recordings on OBS, and I use my this microphone here, which I really like. So that's an important thing. Is like if you're gonna do high-end stuff, have a big desktop with the fans going. Now the fans are quiet. You don't have loud fans in computers now because all the fans are quiet, cool fans. They're very silent fans. So you can buy all the fans that you buy today are going to be very quiet, so silent fans, and that's what I recommend because you don't want to hear a lot of desktop noise from your fans while you're doing recording or any kind of video. So you want to have a fan that's quiet, and that's really important. To have laptop fans are pretty quiet too, as long as it's running right, as long as it's working right. It'll come on and it'll shut down. That's really how it's supposed to go. When your laptop gets hot, the fan will come on and it will cool it, and then it'll shut the fan off. If your fan is just running all the time or making noise, you definitely have to get that checked out because it's not working properly. And remember, laptops are really small and enclosed areas, so you want to get as much cooling as possible because you're really confined to that small form factor, which is the laptop itself. It's not like a big system. So you got to have your cooling right on your laptop, and that's really, really important. I personally like to use these keyboards. These are wireless. Logitech makes them, and I tend to use these wireless keyboards. They're just small enough to use, and they're not real big. And to me, they're pretty good. They work on batteries, and you can move them around. I like them. They're not real bulky. Like some people may like the big bulky keyboards for desktop. And I like the smaller one. And then it has a touchpad on it, so you don't need a mouse. You got the pad right built into it. And I like to do that. I like to move it around, and it doesn't take a lot of space, and it's wireless too. So whatever you feel comfortable with is up to you. I'm more of a desktop person. Like I said, not a laptop person. I don't like to be cramped up on a laptop. To me, it's kind of confined. but I like the big screen of a desktop, and I have my office here, so I like the whole setup, like to do that, to just be at home and do my computer work at home in my office. So yeah, that's important, is to have a comfortable, quiet area where you can do, your videos, your recordings. Um, and now today, a lot of kids like these gaming systems with all the lights and everything. I mean, if I was a young kid, I might like that too. But personally, I don't like all the lights and stuff on the desktop, and the fans with all the neon lights. And to me, that's a big distraction. I mean, personally, but if you're a kid that likes gaming, you might think that's cool. So that's really popular, is having all the aesthetics, having all the bells and whistles. For me, it's all about performance, how it works, and I don't really go for any of that, but it's very popular for the younger generation. When I was a kid, I didn't even have computers, so that's something that, is a big thing with all the neon and colors, and even now they have the water cooling system on the computer, and you can change the color. Like you can have purple colored water running through it, and you can see it through the glass. So, a lot of people like that. If you're a gamer, that's the kind of stuff you probably like. Because it's like, it's all together in like the gaming community. You got the fancy computer, the fast computer, and then all the extras. But for regular use, just to have a fast computer, I like the basics, enough memory. My computers have 16 gigs of memory, and I have an Intel i9 processor, or an i7, one or the other. I think it's an i7, which is pretty fast. And then I have the SSD hard drive, which is pretty fast. And then I have a second hard drive where I save information too. And then I have the webcam, which I use. I have two webcams when I do video. I have webcams that I use. I have on tripods, and that's how I do it. And they're just little basic webcams. One's a Logitech. You can see that. One's a Logitech, and one is a different brand, like an off-name brand. But they both work pretty good. And I use my microphone, through my computer, and then I all my videos going through my regular microphone. I don't use the microphone on the webcam. You can use that. Webcams have the built-in microphone, but it will sound better if you have an external microphone. Your sound will, compared to a webcam. For some reason, they don't have very good microphones. I mean, it's good enough to work, but it's not like any high-end type of thing. You know what I mean? So if you're doing videos, you may want to get yourself a separate microphone, which you'll really like. And what I like most about it is the sound is better than the webcam, but also it blocks out a lot of background sound. I have a fan going, and a lot of people say they don't really hear the fan. And if I use the webcam microphone, it sounds like I got a machine running in here. So that's one good thing. Other than the sound quality is better, you don't hear a lot of background when you have a better, a decent microphone. Or you can even talk closer up to it, and your sounds better like this, the closer you are. So I like that idea also. And if I talk low, it still comes across okay. it still picks everything up, which is a good thing. So I like my setup the way I have it. And I always tell people ask me all the time, like, what kind of computer should I get? What brand and I always tell people, get the computer that, suits your needs. What are your needs, basically? You have to look at it like that first. Like if your computer's not that slow, not that fast, and it's kind of slow, and you want to make it faster, and you can upgrade it. You can put a bigger hard drive in, a SSD hard drive, into like maybe 1 terabyte, so you have enough space to save things, and also you may want to add more memory. If your computer is able to add more memory to it, then you add more memory, and that'll speed it up. You may want to add a GPU card, a good gaming card, graphic card. Add that onto it, and that'll make it a lot better too. If you're going to do video editing and gaming, you really need at least a 4 gig graphic card. You can go 4 gigs, 8 gigs, all the way on up. It really depends on your budget and your needs. But a 4 or an 8 gig card will do the basic stuff, on video editing. Now, if you want to do like high-end gaming, then I would recommend you getting maybe a 16 gig card or a 12 gig or depending on your budget, and how much room you have in your computer, because you got to remember, a GPU card is 4 gig is kind of like this big, and an 8 gig is just a little bit bigger. But if you're going to a 16 gig video card, it's going to be like that long. And will it fit in your case? That's another thing you have to consider, because the bigger cards have 3 fans on them, and the 4 gig and the 8 gig cards, they have 2 fans. So when you get up to the faster video cards, gaming cards, you got to remember that it's going to be bigger. So you got to make sure it fits in your case, and you may have to move one of your fans out of the way so it fits. So you got to get the measurements right. Make sure you get the measurements, and then look in your case and see what it will definitely fit or not. Because sometimes I put in GPU cards in people's computers, and I have to move the fan because the card is too big. I recently put a 24 gig into a big gaming system, and the card was would bang into the fan, so I had to move the fan. I had to take the fan. Sometimes you got to take the fan out, or you got to move the fan. So remember that when you're upgrading your gaming system, or you're upgrading your computer to make it into a gaming system or make it faster. Will that card fit? And another thing that's real important is when you have a 4 gig GPU video card or an 8 gig, you can have your 650 or 750 watt power supply, and that's enough power to pull all the power on all your stuff. But when you're going up higher, if you're going to put in a 12 or 16 gig video card or even higher, you have to get a 1,000 watt 1,000 watt power supply. So you have to replace your power supply and get a 1,000 watt power supply so it can handle all that extra power. You see, because the more things you run in your computer, the more power you're going to need. If you just have a regular computer, a desktop, just doing basic chores like email and surfing the web, eBay, or whatever, you could have a 5, 6, 750 watt power supply. But when you start doing the real high-end stuff, then you got to put the 1,000 watt power supply in if you're going to use a bigger video card. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And I'm going to do a video on more about gaming, and that way you get a good idea about what you need as far as gaming goes. I'm going to do a separate video on that, so I don't want to talk too much about it in this setup video. So just so you know that gaming and high-end video editing is on a higher level. Basic computer, doing internet, surfing the internet, printing, running programs, email, doing eBay. That's on a lower level computer. Any computer can do that as long as it's Windows 10 and it has basically 4 gigs or 8 gig memory. The computer and a good, decent internet, your computer will be able to do the basic stuff. When you get the high-end stuff, it costs more money for the parts, and you have to have the high-end parts in order to have that fast gaming computer or that fast editing machine. So you have to remember that. It's like having a car. If you're going to have a regular basic car that just gets you from point A to B, without all the extras, won't cost as much as having a real fast sports car with the big engine and all the high performance stuff, or even a pickup truck with the lift kits and all that. That's the same thing with gaming and high-end editing. You have to pay more money for all that stuff because it's all high performance. It's all high performance stuff, and it's more expensive. So, okay, I'm going to end this video now. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave it leave it on YouTube, and I'll get back to you on any questions you have. Leave in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already, and share out the video so your friends or your family can learn a lot about their computer also. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. This is Mike from Mike's Computer Tips. Hey everybody, I'm back. Mike here. Glad you're with me. This series is going to be on gaming computers, and I'm going to talk a lot about the parts and what what you need to have a gaming system. If you want to buy one, what to look for. If you want to build one, what are the parts you'll need. Talking about everything gaming and video editing. Gaming video editing kind of goes hand in hand. You have a gaming system, you can do, video editing because your computer is powerful enough to do that. So we're going to get into, talking about all the different things like that. So great to be here, and I'm excited to explain to you guys stuff. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate user, it will still help you, or an advanced user, it will still help you or familiarize you with with gaming and high-end systems. I live in Florida. I'm down here in about an hour, I'd say, away from Disney World, and it's really raining hard out there now. You may be able to hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really coming down. It's been raining for like a couple hours already. It's like it's not like a terrible storm, but just in the summer it rains a lot. Some days it won't rain, and other days it will just come down, During the day it'll be hot, and then at night it'll rain. That's kind of what we get in the summertime here. But without further ado, let's get into gaming systems and high-end video machines, desktop and laptop. Hey everybody, I'm back. Mike here. Glad you're with me. This series is going to be on gaming computers, and I'm going to talk a lot about the parts and what you gotta, what you need to have a gaming system. If you want to buy one, what to look for. If you want to build one, what are the parts you'll need. Talking about everything gaming and video editing. Gaming, video editing kind of goes hand in hand. You have a gaming system, you can do, video editing because your computer is powerful enough to do that. So we're going to get into, talking about all the different things like that. So great to be here, and I'm excited to, explain to you guys stuff. If you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate user, it will still help you. Or an advanced user, it will still help you or familiarize you with, with gaming and high-end systems. I live in Florida. I'm down here in about an hour, I'd say, away from Disney World, and it's really raining hard out there now. And you may be able to hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really coming down. It's been raining for like a couple of hours already. It's like it's not like a terrible storm, but just in the summer it rains a lot. Some days it won't rain, and other days it will just come down. During the day it'll be hot, and then at night it'll rain. That's kind of what we get in the summertime here. But without further ado, let's get into gaming systems and high-end video machines, desktop and laptop. Hey guys, back again. Glad to be here. Welcome to the next video. In this video, I want to talk about various things about computers and computer tips. When you're dealing with a hard drive, today's hard drives are either going to be M.2 or SSD. Now, M.2 is a little skinny, flat hard drive that screws right into your motherboard, and it makes it really fast because it's right directly on your motherboard, and it's a really fast drive. I mean, it'll make your when you click on something, it'll just go. It's like having a TV, but your computer being a TV. The only problem is you do get hot if you're doing gaming, long-term gaming, like hours at a time. You do get hot, so you won't want to do long gaming with an M2 unless you have some good cooling, like fans and stuff like that. Make sure they do have fans now that you can put right on that M2 on the motherboard, and it will help cool down that M2 hard drive. So you could do your gaming and stuff, and it really runs fast. I kind of like the SSDs only because they last a lot longer. They're not as fast as the M2s, but they don't heat up. So you can do gaming for hours and hours, and that SSD hard drive in your desktop or laptop, won't heat up a lot. That's real important because you don't want to overheat your computer. If your CPU gets too hot, especially in a gaming laptop where you're really confined. There's only one fan or two small fans in that laptop, and although the air does come out, the gaming laptop will get hotter than a desktop if you're not careful. So just be aware of those kind of things. So the two hard drives we have today, 2023, I'm sure they're going to be around for a while, is the SSD, and that took over the regular SATA, the big bulky SATA hard drive. Now we're just using SSD and M2. So if you don't have one, an SSD, make sure you get one in your computer make your computer run faster if you're thinking about upgrading. If you're going to keep your computer for a long time and you like your computer and you plan on keeping that, if you can add more memory to it, find out how much memory it will take, and you add more memory to it, and that'll make it faster. You can go over to do a search for memory on Google or go to Crucial.com. Crucial.com sells memory, and they'll tell you exactly how much you can put in your computer, how many slots you have, and the maximum amount your computer will hold. That's really important to know. So make sure you go over to Crucial.com if you want to upgrade your memory. I usually get my memory from Crucial. I'd say for the last 20 years, I've been getting it from Crucial, and they're really good. They have a warranty and everything. So I would definitely get my memory from Crucial. You can do a search for it on the internet and then pull up type in your type of laptop, what the model number is, and all that good stuff. And it'll come up and it'll tell you how much memory your computer will have. Then you can either order online or give them a call. If you're not sure, make sure you call them. They have decent tech support, so And SSD hard drives and M2s, you can buy those on Amazon, or if you have the fast shipping, that Prime shipping is really good. Sometimes I'll buy the hard drives and I'll get it like the next day. YouTube or wherever you can get the best deal, for the hard drive. And, sometimes when you buy more than one, you get an even better deal. So if you have a couple computers that you want to upgrade and you buy a couple of hard drives, sometimes you'll get a discount. And also, the memory and the hard drive, that's where you can get it. eBay's good too, but the shipping takes a little bit longer. So, and then you got to remember, it depends on how big you want the hard drive. You can SSDs, hard drives, they'll start at like 120 gig, then they have a 240, then they have a like a 320, I think. I could be wrong, but I know they have a 500 gig, and then they have 750, I believe, and then 1 terabyte. And you could probably go higher after that, but nobody really needs more than a terabyte on their computer, unless you're going to have one hard drive for your, you're going to save a lot of stuff, then you would need more space. So you could, get as big as you want or as small as you want, and they're still good. And they all work a lot faster than the mechanical hard drive, the old SD, the big giant ones with the silver with the right read arm, the platter, and then you look at your power button and it blinks a lot. And that's when it's trying to find your data. That's what that blinking does. So definitely check into it if you're going to upgrade. And then if you're going to upgrade the video card, you can go online and, you can get yourself an NVIDIA, AMD card, whatever card you like and fits inside your system. I know on a laptop, you're pretty proprietary to what you can get. The video cards, a lot of them are built in to the laptop. Some of them are sit right on top of the motherboard, so you can change them if you can get one that's faster. You just have to take it all apart and install it on there. Another thing, on laptops, people ask me about the internal parts on a laptop. Now, you got to remember, there's a little small Wi-Fi card in your laptop, and it's on the bottom. And then it connects to 2 wires, and those 2 wires come up the side of your screen, and then they meet in the middle of your screen, on the top of your screen in the center. So that's where you're getting all your Wi-Fi capability from. If you have a laptop, is your whole screen is actually your Wi-Fi antenna, starting in the middle where your keyboard is, like in the center, and then it comes around, goes up, and then it comes to the top of your screen. So that's your Wi-Fi antenna. On a desktop, you have it built in, or you have a small antenna in the back, and that's your Wi-Fi. But I tell you, as far as desktops and laptop goes, Ether. I know Wi-Fi is very popular, and a lot of people like to use their laptop in different rooms. And you got your cell phone with the Wi-Fi, so you connect to it in your house or your apartment. But you also got to remember, like if you have a desktop computer, the best way to connect would be, the fastest and the most stable connection is Ethernet. You know, hey, Mike here, Mike's Computer Tips. You have to listen to your fans sometimes. If your fans are making weird noises, they might be dirty, like in your desktop. If it speeds up, it slows down, or if you notice dust in your fans, keep a notice to that. Every once in a while, unplug the power of your desktop, open the side up, and check your fans. Check the power supply fan too. That's the one right in the back of your desktop. It's either on the bottom or the top. And if there's a lot of dust in there, get that compressed air or a vacuum cleaner. Make sure you clean it all out. And then the computer will run cooler. Keep an eye on the sounds of your fans. Very important, especially the sounds of and also the sounds of your laptop, because if your laptop fan keeps on coming on, shutting down, coming on, you might have a problem with overheating on your laptop. So definitely keep an eye out for that sounds. If your fan's not working right, you'll have to clean it or take it to a shop and have somebody make sure it's okay, it's working right, and it's clean. Because you have to keep that laptop and your desktop fans clean all the time. You don't want to get too much dust on there, because the more dust is on there, the hotter it's going to get. And also your computer screen, every once in a while take some Windex very lightly with paper towel and clean it really gently, or take a paper towel and dampen it with water and clean your screen up with that, and the back of your monitor, and anywhere there's dust on your keyboard. And if you got like stuff in your keyboard, blow it out. If you're using an old style mouse with the ball in it, make sure every once in a while you twist the bottom open and clean the dust out of there. And there's like a little cylinder that runs that gets dust on it. Make sure you take the dust off of that, because that allows the ball to roll, your mouse ball to roll. Once you take the ball out, look inside it. Usually there's dust inside on this metal thing. So you pull the dust off of that, blow it out, take some alcohol and clean your mouse ball. Let that dry first. Once it's dry, put it back in and take some alcohol lightly with paper towel and clean the top of your mouse. Lightly clean the top of your mouse and the bottom of your mouse, disinfecting. That will disinfect everything. Very important too. You don't want to wet your keyboard a lot either. Like if you're using a regular keyboard, you don't want to wet it a lot. Make sure when you're cleaning it, just take the air and just go gently between the keys. And you can take a paper towel with a little water or alcohol, just very lightly, and go over the top and the bottom of it. But I would not drench it in water or alcohol, because it may not work after. So don't put much of it on there. And just enough so it's clean and it's disinfected. You can do that with your tower or your laptop also. Just be very careful. You don't put that much liquid on it because it can, if you put too much, it can prevent it from working. It's very important that you clean it properly. When you're cleaning a laptop, you want to take that air in between the keys, make sure it's shut off, and in between the keys, get as much dust that's in between your keys on your laptop, and then you can very lightly, put it gently with a paper towel on a tiny bit of alcohol or water, and just go gently on it. You could even do that with the bottom of the laptop too, very gently. Clean the dust off, clean your desk, make sure everything is in good order, and make sure everything's dry too before you plug anything in. You want to make sure everything's dry so it'll work better, it'll work again. You don't want to use the keyboard if it's damp. Give it some time, let it dry, and then use same thing for a webcam. If you have a webcam, every once in a while, take a paper towel with a little water and just clean the lens off, or the lens cleaning cloth is perfect. You just go around the lens. Do the same thing with your cell phone. You have a cell phone, you do videos with it, or you take pictures. Make sure you get the lens cloth and clean them outside, the different cameras on it, and especially the one in the front. Clean that one too. That little black thing, make sure you clean that good. I do that on a regular basis. I use a tiny bit of water, or I use paper towel. I have these little things where I clean my glasses. You can get them in any store, and they're just alcohol wipes. Open them up. I'll clean my glasses. I'll clean my screen with my phone. I'll clean my cameras, and then I'll just throw it away and use another one maybe that night or the next day. And I'll do the same thing every couple of days. If my glasses are dirty, clean my glasses, and then I'll clean my phone because you get a lot of germs on your phone from touching it. And also wash your hands a lot if you can. Make sure you wash your hands because your phone has a lot of germs. And then if you're touching your keyboard a lot and your mouse, you can get a lot of germs on there. So make sure you wash your hands pretty often because you don't want to, you have to use your computer to wash your hands because you might be touching your face or touching something or whatever. Sometimes I'll wipe my eye or something, and you can get germs. So you have to wash your face real good and wash your hands. Very important when you're around your computer because your keyboard, your mouse, your cell phone, anything that you touch, you can get a lot of germs on it. You don't have to be a fanatic, but you definitely want to keep everything decently clean because it'll go a long way if you do that. TikTok. Just about every day I'll be on TikTok. I make a video on YouTube. Download the video and save it in my photos, and I'll attach it to TikTok, and then I'll put it on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'll put it on Facebook. I'm on Facebook even. And on Facebook too. I'm there. My name is Mike LOCASCIO. And on Facebook. Mostly I'm on Facebook. And I belong to a bunch of groups on there. Post videos to groups. And I'm also on Instagram, so you can look me there on Instagram. Social medias I use the most Facebook, and I use Facebook and also use YouTube. So between Facebook and YouTube, that's where I make most of the time. So generally, when I am on Facebook, and put your videos on, yeah, that's a good thing. Like I said, the tip of the day, I'll make a video and give a tip, and then I'll put it on my platforms, on Instagram, and I'll put it on there, and then I go to Twitter. I usually tweet out my video on Twitter, so I'll go in there also, and I put my photos on there. So between Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook groups, that's where I usually put my videos. So I want to spread awareness about that much more, and bring an aspect to life to the social media, but they're not all that much. Some of them are really good likes, so I didn't join. I tried it out, and I can. The ones that I like are Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok is a few groups that I jump on there, but usually Pastor John's is what I like on TikTok. And I'll go in and find being on there. And just follow the right people and find the resume and stuff like that. So those are the places where I put my videos, and you can always find my videos in other places as well. Definitely, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the bell to make sure it's all notified when a new video comes out, and you will see it. So you can always leave a comment, just tell me to support the video or something, question, anything of that nature. I'm very available to definitely in the comments, and then I'll get back to you. Looking for someone else, looking for someone. Those are the social medias that I like those. I like those posts, and it made one of me when I was there was, believe it or not, Facebook Peter Tips. That's the name. And the only difference is that Facebook, I have a couple of accounts, but the one I use most is just my name, which is Mike LOCASCIO. And I like to print just every now and then. Yes, that's the easiest way, the best way. So you go there on Facebook, post anything there, send me a friends request, and I'll add you. Mike LOCASCIO. That's it. So you put it in, something